What is up, everybody? We are live. What's up, Tyler? How are you doing, buddy?
Other than the fact that I am freezing cold and I'm sick, I could care less if I see snow ever again, ice ever again, rain ever again.
Oh my God.
I could care less if I ever see it ever again. Other than that, I'm good. I'm good. I'm snowed in, but good. How are you, man?
Snowed in, trying to stay warm. As of now, I've had stable power for like the last hour. Hey, that rhymed. I don't even mean to do that. Just
Stable
kind
power
of
for
rhyme
the
for a
last
living.
hour.
It's part of the job. I write music and shit and stuff. Sorry.
On the bright side,
yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks till pitchers and catchers report. So
2 weeks, man. I can feel the warmth kind of already. I mean, that'll get baseball talk heating up and give us something to look forward to. But
dude, you're probably I even forgot to bring this up even in the pre-show. You're probably on an absolute high right now. Your football team's going to the Super Bowl.
100%, and nobody could expected that. Like, it's been amazing. Like, I was hoping, they would have like a decent season this year. Maybe like if we got 4 wins last year, the Patriots did. If the Patriots would have got like 6 or 7 wins this season, I would have been happy. But to make it to the playoffs, that's one thing. And to win the AFC Championship, that's another thing. And I've been riled up because everybody's like, they had the easiest schedule. But the Patriots faced 3 of the top 5 defenses in the playoffs. And, they've never won in the past couple of years in Denver in the playoffs. They're like 0-4, now 1-4. So they had a lot against them. Super happy for them. And we'll see what happens. That Seahawks team, though, they're going to face is elite. And speaking of football and the weather, check this out. This was pretty freaking cool. We got, for those who may or may not know, I'm in the band Blackstone Cherry, and we got hit up last week to come play the pregame for the NFC Championship for the Rams and the Seahawks. And we were on cloud 9. And everything was a go, looked like it was going to happen. And then this freaking weather forecast hit us on the East Coast.
Are you serious?
Because we were going to have to fly in like a couple of days earlier, and it was going to blow them over their budget for putting us up for a couple of days and accommodating what we needed and all that stuff. So they decided to go with someone closer in the Seattle area, I guess, and told us they'd get us on a game next season, but so close. Zach Top was there and sang.
That's crazy. I mean, they just made it to the Super Bowl. I'm sure they're definitely going to have it in their budget now. Man, that's crazy. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
But literally so freaking far away at the same time. So Snowmageddon, baby. It is undefeated. It is undefeated. And I'm trying to get all the links and stuff shared up on social media right now because we're live and we need some viewers and want to talk to everybody and talk about some baseball to warm things up. And yeah, man, I'm so freaking ready for this season. I mean, so many trades has been made so far. So many of the top free agents are now signed, and things are starting to take a shift. Things are starting to get a little bit kind of more concrete on what certain teams are going to look like going into spring training, and I'm just super excited, man. I mean, one of the biggest surprises, other than the Red Sox, I think, not re-signing or keeping Alex Bregman, is just their lack of doing much at all this offseason, which I did not expect. What about you?
I was surprised that they didn't get Alex Bregman. I was a little surprised that they did come back and bounce back with a Ranger Suarez. That was I did not expect that. It was kind of like, hey, we lost our best bat in the lineup, so how are we going to kind of bounce back from that? Oh, we're just going to make our starting pitching staff stronger, which you got a 1-2 if Garrett Crochet and Ranger Suarez, man, that's going to be pretty tough to beat. But I still think they need another bat. There's rumors going around that maybe they're looking at a guy like Matt Shaw from the Cubs and even a Nico Horner. And I'm going to hope I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that they don't, unless
Crossing eyes and everything.
they throw in that controllable arm they have. I can't think of his name, the lefty, the prospect guy that's really good. But I also seen rumors where maybe they go after a guy like Eugenio Suarez, who he's going to hit you 40 home runs. He doesn't play the best defense, but he's a pretty solid bat. But yeah, I was surprised of the whole Bregman not signing back with Boston. I was very surprised on I believe it was the Bear. I was watching the Bears and Packers, and you see the highlight on your phone. Alex Bregman signs a 5-year deal with the Cubs, and I'm just like, holy crap!
2 Christmases.
Yeah, I did not expect that at all. I mean, I thought there was a chance, but I did not think that Chicago was going to be his final pick. But yeah, Boston losing on Alex Bregman, that's crazy. But hey, at least you bounce back with the Ranger. Sorry, Ron Hare. We've been saying his name wrong. I want to say in his press conference, I'm pretty sure he even admitted it. He was like, yeah, everybody's called me Ranger, so I've kind of stuck with it. But it's actually Ron Hare, which is kind of cool because now Ranger, like, that's a cool nickname, Ranger.
Right. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think like they have so much more left to get done. The Boston Red Sox do before they're ready for spring training. I mean,
You think
Penn's looking okay. Starting rotation seems to be solid, but they have to get some more at bats. I mean, do they try making some kind of deal or trade for like a Eugenio Suarez, or he
I've
could
also
play.
heard I've also heard Isaac Paredes from the Houston Astros, possibly.
Yeah.
I will ask you. Let me ask you though, since we're talking about the Red Sox, and you think about the teams that made the playoffs last year, and obviously we're going to talk about other moves and stuff like that. But you think about the team in the Red Sox, and you make the playoffs, and now we're in this offseason. Are they the team that was in the playoffs last year that need to make a couple more moves? Because I could argue there's another team in their division that needs to make multiple moves, and that's the New York Yankees.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, signing Bellinger, re-signing Bellinger, keeping Bellinger in New York was great, but they definitely need some more moves. I I wonder what Volpe's going to do this year. He just had a bad season last season, and
Defensively, for sure. I don't know if he's. I'm surprised. I'm surprised Anthony Volpe is going to be their starting shortstop to start the season. But they bring back Bellinger, which they had to have Bellinger. Bellinger he was perfect for that team, and you could argue, well, the Mets needed him more and all this, but he fit well with the Yankees. He fit well at that stadium. Maybe the Mets offer him more money, but for Bellinger, for his career, it may have been better off for him to stay with the Yankees. So good on the Yankees to bring him back. But yeah, you get Ron Weathers, and yeah, you're going to get Garrett Cole probably at the middle of summer. Yeah, you're going to get a Carlos Rodon probably around the same time. But with that being said, at this very moment in time, you're just the same team right now that you were last year, minus Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon to kick off the season. Like, those, out of all the teams so far, at least the Red Sox, and you can look at the AL East just by itself. You could argue that the AL East has done the most in all of baseball as far as adding players, whether it's free agency or trades. Because you look at the Orioles, you look at the Blue Jays, you look at the Red Sox, you look at the Yankees. Tampa's Tampa, whatever. But the Yankees, man, I'm so shocked that they have not, other than Bellinger, which I think that was almost like, yeah, I think everybody assumed he was coming back. But after that, they haven't really done anything to add. And it makes you wonder, are they about to waste the prime years of Aaron Judge, which, by the way, who was just announced as the new cover athlete of MLB The Show. But like, all they've done so far is just enough to be back to where they were last year. And it just it's like, where are the big bad? I know the Dodgers are that now, but where are these big bad Yankees that every season used to, hey, we stunk, so we're about to go out and get one of the best players on the free agent market, or we're going to trade for one of the best players, yada yada. Haven't seen it for the last few seasons, but yeah, I think at least with the free agency moves and all that kind of stuff, the biggest surprise for me has been the Yankees in that division,
That's
and
very
not in a good way.
Yeah, and I can only imagine there's a lot of disgruntled Yankee fans right now because they're not used to this. They're kind of used to them operating like the Dodgers in a way, meaning, a lot of money and bigger budget to throw around, going out there, getting who they want, and they just really haven't done it. I was driving through town earlier, buying some gas from a generator so I could stay warm and, watch TV and all that good stuff, make some coffee. And I heard a guy call in to I think it was maybe Loud Outs on MLB Sirius XM. He's a Yankees fan, and boy, he was putting a case together to trade Jazz Chisholm for Nico Horner, and I just was not having it
I
at
want it.
all.
No, no, no,
No,
thank you. We'll keep him. We will
yeah,
keep Nico Horner.
you keep Jazz, we'll keep Nico. It's all good, but yeah, a lot of the top best free agents are gone now because, of course, unless you've been living under a rock, Kyle Tucker signed with the Dodgers, Bo Bichette signed with the Mets, Alex Bregman's with the Cubs, Hader signed with the Giants, I believe, right?
Oh, Harrison Bader.
Yeah,
Yeah, he signed with the Giants. I believe that was yesterday. 20 years.
yeah.
Or sorry, 20 million, 2 years, I think. Yeah, which the Giants was
gone.
who's
Here it
that?
is.
Yeah.
Free agent Harrison Bader in agreement with the Giants on 2 years contract pending a
He had a
physical.
solid year last year. I'm just glad he's not in the NL Central anymore because he is a freaking Cub killer.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's a good outfielder. Yeah, good for the Giants.
So there's not a lot of names left on the free agent market. So we're pretty much
You got Framber Valdez, but
as far as at bats though
as far as bats, yeah, you've got
for the Yankees. Yeah,
as far as you got Suarez, and then after that, it's a lot of just. Do they bring back Paul? Do you bring back Paul Goldschmidt again? I don't think so. I think he's going to be 37, and I don't think that would work out for him.
Trust the farm, I guess. I'm not even. Sure
I mean, there's really not much left. You got Isaiah Connor Falefa or whatever, but he's a former Yankee. Do you bring him back? No. McCutchen yesterday or the day before made a big case for Pittsburgh to bring him back because he's kind of wanting a retirement tour. Do the Yankees call him? No. So yeah, there's really not much on the market. And I mean, maybe we've heard about Jason Dominguez for so many years now, the Martian. And do they finally give him a chance out there because he didn't play much in the playoffs the last 2 years? Do they finally give him an opportunity just to be the everyday left fielder over there and just see because if not, I'm packaging a deal with him and trying to get somebody. Maybe, be honest, maybe do you call Minnesota and say, hey, what does it take for a guy like Byron Buxton to come over to New York, even though Buxton's done said, hey, I'm going to stay in Minnesota for my career, or
Gleyber Torres,
I want to say, did Gleyber just sign with somebody?
That's a good question. I'll have to look that up and come back.
Was it maybe the Giants? No. I feel like Gleyber signed with somebody. And Gleyber, trust me, Gleyber does not want to go back to New York. He does not want just following his career a little bit while he was in New York, you could tell he was ready to be out of that place when he was done.
Yeah. There could be some guys open maybe on the Angels or even the Astros. But yeah, people are going to have to get creative. They're going to have to trade some guys around. They're going to have to get rid of some prospects. And, speaking of prospects, I was looking at a graphic earlier. Let me see if this is the right one. Nope. That's the Dominican Republic. of some of the prospects that's currently been traded this off season. Of course, we know Owen Casey was in the trade for
Edward
um,
Cabrera.
for Cabrera. Sorry, I'm
Hmm.
trying to do three things at once. I'll get it together in a minute. And some other prospects, but I'll get back to that graphic and I'll find it here a little bit later on. But yeah, I mean, people are going to have to start like looking who's in the farm, who they can get rid of, who they can't get rid of. Have to look at maybe calling some guys up from AAA, which the Yankees usually always have a pretty decent farm system. So maybe there's some guys that they can kind of call upon and hopefully you know give them something this season because they're definitely going to need it. Here we go. I think I got it right here. It's loading right now. All right. So the top 10 prospects traded this winter. You got Owen Casey. You got Jacob Melton. You got Anderson Brito, Harry Ford, Luis Perales. I think so you say his name. Garcia, Brandon Clark, Michael Foret, Jake Bennett, and Dylan Lewis. So, you know,
Hey, it just goes to show you got to trade. You got to trade some of your valuable assets if you want a good asset in return. I think the days of, just felt like, I don't know, 5 to 10 seasons ago, you could trade a handful of prospects away,
mhm.
and you could trade you 3, 4, 5 prospects for some big name guy, and maybe they weren't your top guys, but it was like, oh man, we got these prospects. Now it's like, hey, we know what you got. We know what this guy can potentially be. And if you want if you want what we got, you're going to have to give us something pretty freaking good in return. And, in the case for Owen Casey with the Cubs, for example, and I'm only going to say, and I mean, you can definitely speak on that just because of how familiar we are with that organization. Owen Casey was that number one prospect in that organization. And the Marlins knew what they had in Edward Cabrera,
And they
and
also
with the
have
control of
depth.
it. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing with all these prospects is so much controllability. And so it's like one of those things where, okay, we'll get this prospect. He has 5 or 6 years of control. Maybe after 2 years, uh, he's not doing as well as we thought we were, or maybe the team's not even doing as well as we thought we were going to do, but there's still a lot of potential in this guy. Well, hey, we can just trade him off for something else, for more prospects. So, it's just a classic case, kind of like when you say you got to pay to play, you've got to trade. If you want some good stuff, if you want a good asset, added to your team via trade, you're going to have to give up some good assets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to give to get,
Just
right?
a,
A
just
little to
ask. I know we talked about it in the pre-show. Just ask the Rangers and the Nationals.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, nobody was going to get Mackenzie Gore, for cheap or just for money. You're going to have to give something up.
I
And
didn't expect. I did not expect 5 prospects for Mackenzie. Don't get me wrong. Mackenzie Gore is a great pitcher. Sorry, he's a good pitcher so far, but with a very very high upside. But 5 prospects, holy crap! But at the same time, I want to say Gore is still under, like, what is it, like 5 years of team control or something like that,
I believe so. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
The Rangers, they gave up their number 2 prospect and shortstop Gavin Fine. I think so you say his last name. Their number 6 prospect uh, Rosario. Their number 12 prospect Devin Fitzgerald. Their number 16 Jeremy Cabrera, and their number 18 prospect Ortiz, first baseman outfielder. So
crazy.
I
And
mean,
just like
it kind
that,
of makes
for
sense for the
example.
Rangers too because they're in a little bit of a rebuilding phase coming off of that World Series win. Was it back in 2021? They've been trying to
23.
23. Sure, is
23.
it? Okay, so
They're
23.
they're in that window. They've got a lot of ifs. And if their ifs click, as in, can Jacob DeGrom stay healthy? Nate Eovaldi, can he stay healthy? Does can Jack Leiter move up a level? Can Kumar Rocker be that guy that we saw at Vanderbilt? And then can Corey Seager stay healthy? Does Wyatt Langford, did things click for him? Because they can, I know you've got the Mariners, you've got the Astros. Say what you want about the A's. They don't have any pitching. The Angels are the Angels. They feel like they have a chance to win their division. And so I get it on one stance that you give up all those prospects for Mackenzie Gore, but Mackenzie Gore has to return the favor, and so does the Rangers. And if that doesn't happen, at least on the positive side, they can say, well, you know what? This isn't working out. We can still trade Mackenzie Gore for a bunch of valuable prospects in return. And there's that. So, yeah, maybe it's a lot. Still, they can get a lot in return for Mackenzie Gore if Mackenzie Gore can be the Mackenzie Gore that a lot of people have projected him to be.
Absolutely. And I wonder what Mackenzie Gore's stats was.
Which people forget, he was actually in the trade with San Diego when the Nationals traded Juan Soto to the Padres.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, his stats for last year across 30 starts, he posted a 5 out of 15 record with a sub-4 ERA. This is from Mackenzie Gore, recording 185 strikeouts and a whip of 1.35 and 159.2 innings pitched. So, I mean, that's not terrible. He's definitely going to add some depth there for the Rangers, make them stronger,
Change of scenery.
Change of scenery, which is always a good thing. He can get on maybe 3 to 5 more wins. Is that kind of being too optimistic? I would say at least 3 more wins, right, for the Rangers. What do you think?
Yeah, hopefully.
So we'll have to see. But, yeah, I mean, that was a great pickup. And, again, since they've won the World Series, won the World Series in 2023, just like they're trying to, to get back in playoff contention. So maybe he can definitely help with that. Some other players that got signed. Of course, we talked earlier how Harrison Bader in a 2-year agreement with the Giants. And this one was interesting and good for him. JT Realmuto is back with the Phillies. So that's a good pickup or good re-sign for them. I still feel like maybe they've got kind of more to do. We'll see how creative they get in the free or in the trade market. But this was interesting as well. I saw this come out on Talking Baseball. Before last season, the Reds offered Ellie De La Cruz a contract that would have been more than Joey Votto's club record $225 million deal.
I've seen that, and that's just a classic case of Ellie De La Cruz is saying, "Hey, I'm going to bet on myself," and maybe after the end of this 26 season, going into 27, when they figure out whatever the owners and the Players Association figure out, I think he's just betting and hoping that, hey,
yeah,
by the time I'm a free agent, I'm going to go get my money somewhere else, possibly LA. But yeah, you can't blame him, especially after you see
it would have made him the highest Cincinnati Reds player ever. And if he didn't take it at that point, can you imagine how much more money it's probably going to cost him? He's probably at least looking at 300, maybe 350, depending on this upcoming season, what kind of season he has. But 300 to 350 for 7 years?
For sure. But at the same time, Ellie De La Cruz is going to have to he's going to have to level up too. I know he's a great player right now, but he's going to have to level up. I know last year he started off strong, and then the second half was kind of meh.
He reminded me of PCA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
PCA
for sure.
And him both have a problem with laying off pitches that's high in the zone. And they
does he play shortstop the rest of his career? I don't know. He's had moments where he can make a play. He can make an amazing play and then turn around and just make the phoniest error that you're like, what the crap, man? Come on. So And I think that just comes with maturity and
Yeah.
everything like that. But yeah, it's a classic case, I think, of him betting on himself and probably his agent in his ear, saying, "Hey, look at Cincinnati." It's funny because I literally just talked to a guy this afternoon at my dad's shop about Cincinnati, and this guy's a big Cincinnati fan, and he was just talking about how angry he was with the way Cincinnati spins and the way they actually technically don't spin.
Yeah.
You throw all this money out and saying, "Hey, we're gonna offer this money to Kyle Schwarber," and he doesn't take it, and basically tells your fans, "Hey, we have almost 150 million dollars right now to give out to somebody." And you miss out on Schwarber and you don't do anything. And so maybe, who knows, De La Cruz and his team sees that and says, "Hey, I don't know if this team really wants to win. So how about we just bet on ourselves? We'll reject that contract and we'll just go try to make our money elsewhere whenever he reaches free agency."
Yeah. Absolutely. And it looks like they are in the midst of trying to find a new TV deal as well. And surely they'll get something lined out, obviously, before the season. But the Reds have terminated their TV contract with Main Street Sports. Reds and TV home in 2026 to be determined. I know Rob Manfred would love just to have every team under one umbrella, and it seems like it may eventually go that way. We'll see what happens, but I kind of don't like that. Everything being under one umbrella in a way. And again, you know, I know a lot of people are mad at the Dodgers right now, unless you're a Dodgers fan. I'm not mad at it. I don't think you're mad at it. We're not mad
Yeah.
at it going on this podcast on Dugout Dispatch. That's for sure. You know, of course, I wish that my team could go out because I don't think Marquee has been as profitable and successful as the Cubs has wanted, given they did start it right in the first year of COVID. But yeah, I would love for my team to have a deal like that, or
For
who
sure.
wouldn't, you know, uh, whatever team you're a fan of. But, like you can go out and you can get creative, like the Marlins. The Miami Marlins are in Miami. I was just in
Exactly.
Hell.
It's
There is
Miami.
there is money there. I promise you, there is money in Miami. There is money in
Think about this.
Michigan. There's money in
Miami.
Chicago. There's money in New York. There's money
You
throughout
bring up
Texas.
you
I
bring
mean,
up Miami. Just think about Miami for a second. Miami used to have at one time on the team Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton,
yeah.
JT Realmuto, Marcelo Zuna.
Hmm.
They all got traded away. They didn't leave for free agency. They traded all them away. They said,
Yeah.
"Sorry, we're not going to pay you guys. Go out and here, you go off to this team, and you all this team and this team, and we'll just take the prospects in return." Like, think about that. That's crazy. And like it's Miami.
I'll do you.
Miami.
I'll do you one better. And this should really, hopefully, rub some feathers in the baseball world, especially for owners. Savannah Bananas, drop the mic.
Yeah.
They were selling out stadiums this past season, even before the games, were even happened. And you got the Tampa Bay Rays that was playing in a Yankees AAA spring training park and couldn't even sell out their home opener.
Is
What's
that
that
not
say?
that's embarrassing? I mean, I say that with all due respect to the Bananas, which, by the way, Savannah, if you guys are listening, I
We
am
love
on your
you.
waiting list for Chicago tickets for Wrigley Field this year.
Hook
But
us up.
with that being, that's almost like a slap in the face. It's like your own home team can't sell out parks, and then we're going to get this traveling again, with all due respect, because I've been to a Bananas game and I absolutely love it. We're going to get this traveling circus show, which is very entertaining, and they'll sell out a football stadium.
Yeah. And I think the problem, Tyler, is, in my opinion, there's too many owners out here that just own a professional sports team as some kind of like little side hobby or something to make their investment portfolio
Oh,
look
it's
cool.
yeah, oh yeah. They
And
it's a dollar sign. That's all it is.
here's what I hope. As Cubs fans, we have been very critical of the owner Tom Ricketts past couple seasons. And it feels like this season and maybe even last season, he kind of listened a little bit, especially this off season. And I hope that our team has an owner that's doing the moves that he's been making and working with Jed Hoyer to go out here and get these players, because I hope that if Cubs win the World Series in 2026, I hope and I expect Tom Ricketts is like middle fingers up towards all the Cubs fans, respectfully,
Oh yeah.
after getting so much critique. See, told you guys I care about this team. Told you guys I want to be competitive. Now look at me now for giving me all that slack. See, that's what I like. That's what I like. And there should be more team owners like that, instead of just owning a team to sell off 30% of the shares to get these private equities to come in. Because when you get these private shareholders that comes in, you stop caring as much about spending money or getting creative to get money to sign players, and all you care about is making money, especially when the Dodgers come to your stadium.
Yeah.
That's another thing, how much money they brought to all these other MLB stadiums throughout the season when these star players come play their team. But you're just worried about making enough money to keep these private shareholders happy and they get their dividends and blah, blah, blah. I mean, what I love about the Savannah Bananas, it's like kind of like Bill Veeck marketing on steroids in all the best ways. And I love it because when you watch that, it's the Saints of Second Chances, I think, and I've mentioned it
Oh
before
yeah.
about Bill Veeck when he bought the Chicago White Sox in the early mid '90s, and he didn't have the money to buy them. And at that point, like a lot of teams are still used to, especially Milwaukee Brewer fans, they're used to getting these star level players coming up through the farm just to get traded away because they don't have the money to keep these players there. But Bill Veeck, that was kind of like the White Sox's memo for years during that time until Bill Veeck got the team, and he came up with creative ways to make money and marketing efforts to sell more tickets. Again, the disco thing was a flop. That was more on his son Michael, but we're not going back to that. Who talks about disco in this day and age? I still like a little disco every now and then. But the fact of the matter is, thought out of the box. If you don't, I've always made the analogy. You shouldn't let not owning a fishing pole stop you from going fishing. If you want to go fishing bad enough, you're going to break off a limb off a tree. They're going to use your shoestring, and then you're going to catch a fish, figure out how to make a hook and put your hands in the dirt, pull a worm out, get a fish, sell it, and then just so you can buy another fishing pole. You got to hustle. You got to think creatively. You got to keep going. So, and it's not like other teams are not benefiting off revenue share, from when these players get signed, like at the Dodgers, because right out of the gate, a lot of that deferred money, it's like what, $3.5 million goes towards baseball players, their retirement plan and pensions and stuff like that. And then a lot of that extra money that's deferred, it's put in an escrow. And then also you got rev share. So a lot of that money ends up going to the smaller market, bottom of the barrel teams in the league. You're hoping that they're spending the money to go out there and get star players or to re-up players' contract with the rev share money that they get coming in. But I don't want to see a salary cap. And I know we've mentioned before a floor, but I don't know if you can even have a floor without having a cap, because I just don't feel like it'd be good baseball to see like everybody just kind of like floating right here. You got to have some good teams. You got to have some middle on the road teams. And I hate to say it, but you got to have some bottom feeders. But when those bottom feeders kind of make it up and get into the playoffs or win a World Series, it makes it just that much more sweet. But again, if you back to my point, if you own a team like the Miami Marlins, dude, you are in Miami. There is money there. You have to go out and get it. There's no excuse why you should be letting a lot of these players go, that you have in recent year, and just keep spinning your wheels. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Speaking of things happening, boy, did the New York Mets make a comeback this all season, because it was looking
Dude,
like
they
they were
have.
going to be in the same boat as maybe the Boston Red Sox. But they didn't get their guy that they wanted in Kyle Tucker, but that didn't let them stop them. They ended up getting Bo Bichette and made a great
That was a
trade.
shocker.
That was a
I don't
shock.
think anybody had that on their bingo card was Bo Bichette to the Mets.
Or Freddy Peralta trade. I
No.
figured
And
maybe
the
Freddy
thing was,
Peralta to the Yankees.
Freddy Peralta fits them perfectly, though, because that's what. So I think a lot of people, myself included, had Cody Bellinger going to the Mets, and maybe I don't picture Steve Cohen ever doing a rebuild. I think he's just going to constantly look, what can I add to this team this season to make us winners? And it looked like this offseason they had to figure out, look, what are you guys doing this year? What are you guys going to be? Is this going to be kind of maybe not a rebuild, but we're going to step back this season, try to figure out what we have in our rotation and stuff like that, and then maybe go after it the next year? And Steve Cohen's like, hold my beer for a minute. I see you, Kyle Tucker. That's okay. And just offers Bo Bichette a monster deal, which I want to say, I believe there's opt-outs after each season, to play third base, by the way. And then, like you said, they make a trade for Freddy Peralta, and then they make a trade for Luis Robert, who, didn't have the best year last year, but just a few seasons ago hit 39 home runs. Can be he's a MVP, a top 10 MVP caliber player when he's on. He can be that guy. And so basically went from just what the crap are you guys doing to holy smokes, you guys are possibly better than the Phillies now in y'all's division. Maybe not. It's going to depend on what the rest of that starting staff looks like. But man,
they got Tobias Myers too, right? In that trade, I'm pretty sure.
I believe so.
Tobias Myers, and of course the Brewers, they got Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams, two of their top prospects.
And the thing is, and you know it too, Milwaukee, they did the same thing when they lost Corbin, when Corbin Burns went away. Milwaukee's going to probably turn those guys into quality players. It's going to be a thorn in mine and your side for the next 5 years. They're going to turn out to be all-star caliber players probably, and that's just what the Brewers do. So just because Freddy Peralta's gone, I don't look at it. It's like, all right, the Brewers' run is now over. I'm not looking past them because they will figure it out. They always do.
They always do, man. It's so annoying, but at the same time, as a fan of baseball, you have to tip your hat to the Brewers because they just have a great way of developing guys. I mean, the way they took it to the Dodgers last year, the juggernauts of the NL during the regular season, of course, fell short in the NLCS.
Mm-hmm.
But who would have expected that? Like even Zip's projections on Fangraphs had it wrong on the Brewers last year. But speaking of Zip's projections, Fangraphs, go back to New York Mets real quick, was looking at their Zips projections, and Zips likes their bullpen. They believe they have an above average bullpen.
They did just sign Craig Kimbrell to a minor league deal.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. I like those stories, by the way. The old guys that just don't want to give it up. They want to keep playing, and guys that used to be the big swinging what's in the clubhouse, and now they're taking this minor league deal. I still want to play ball and all that kind of stuff. I want to say he's got like 440 some saves, and I'm sure he's probably not going to close out many games for the Mets either. It's just It's crazy to think that. I don't know. I just like those kind of stories.
And Clay Holmes isn't an ace either, but he bled a couple of strikeouts when he transitioned from the bullpen to the rotation. Who else they got?
They got Devin Williams,
Johan Tong, David Peterson. We'll see what kind of season Kota Singa has.
Boy, he's a guy, I think, in that whole rotation. He's a guy that's going to have to step up because there was a lot of expectations with him last year. I want to say he finished the year last year in the minors. I think he got demoted last year.
Yeah. Sean. How do you say his last name? Mania.
Oh, Sean Mania. Yeah.
Mania.
Sean Mania. And then who is it? Nolan. He's playing for Team USA. Is it Nolan Gorman? No.
Nolan McLean
Nolan
or
McLean. He's a
McLean. Sorry, I said that wrong. I was thinking
I
of
want to say
McLean.
he was the guy. He's
McLean.
pitching for USA this year, right?
I believe so. Yeah, Nolan
He's the
McLean.
guy that came up last year that everybody's like, man, this guy's going to be legit. So he definitely needs to he needs to have a breakout year for sure.
They got Christian Scott, Cooper Criswell. On the plus side, Zips thinks there's a real chance that Jonathan Pintario's command will improve just enough for him to have a breakout in 2026.
Yeah.
So
the Mets could be a solid. The Mets could be a playoff. I mean, easily they're playoff contenders for sure. But
they're rating their bullpen, their relievers right now at a 3.5 WAR. So I mean, that's not terrible.
Not bad.
Everybody in the starting rotations at least around a 2.5 WAR player is what Zips is giving them. But yeah, I mean, I think the Mets, boy, did they bounce back, and did they bounce back like what in a week and a half time span?
Yeah, you know, I think it was less than 2 weeks they had. Yeah,
good for them.
Good for them.
Disgruntled Mets fans, but Tyler, we had a post on our TikTok page blow up the past couple of days, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to go over some of the pick a handful of comments out to talk about it. But let me get it pulled up here on my phone so I can read it a little bit bigger. Where'd it go? I just had it. Actually, I'm going to pull it up on my laptop because it's right there. That's even bigger. So this was a post from Dan Clark on X, Dan Clark Sports. MLB needs. First one, salary floor. Second one, umpire accountability. Increased minor league salaries. Less, no blackouts. Better Hall of Fame selection system. Better All-Star selection system. Formalized, unwritten rules. Lower prices, fuller stadiums. MLB does not need an in-season tournament. And this may be our most viral post yet to date on TikTok. It was insane. And yeah, how do you feel about some of that? Kind of get your thoughts on some of those.
I agree with a lot of it. I know there was talks about possibly, figuring out ways to improve the product, and they had talked about how the NBA does an in-season tournament, which I'm gonna be honest, I could give a crap about an NBA in-season. It's a participation trophy. Same thing with MLB. They definitely don't need an in-season, and I don't think they'll do anything like that. I really don't. But as far as the rest of those, I agree with all of them. If not, like the umpire accountability, for example, I wish after at least after playoff games that the umpires had to answer to the media as well. Like, I wish that was a thing. You don't want to put them on the spot and blah, blah, blah. Like, why not? You put the players on the spot. Why did you throw this pitch in that situation and all this kind of stuff? And it's like, oh, why didn't you guys, do a challenge or something like that? Whatever. Like, I wish there was more of that. In all sports, not just baseball. But I agree with just about all those. Like Hall of Fame selection for sure, because the BBWA has destroyed that. It just turned it into a joke, a big fat joke. I could care less now. Whoever, like Carlos Beltran, congratulations, by the way, for making the Hall of Fame, as well as Andrew Jones and Jeff Kent. But Carlos Beltran, who was arguably at one of the ringleaders of the supposed the whole trash can scandal in Houston. He does that little thing, literally cheats, and all that kind of stuff, which whatever, everybody makes mistakes. I'm not saying he's not a Hall of Famer, but he gets in fairly easy and then turns around and Barry Bonds, for example, he's a cheater as well, but Carlos Beltran's cheating wasn't as bad as Barry Bonds' cheating. So we're going to let Carlos in. So yeah, the Hall of Fame selection committee needs to be addressed for sure. But yeah, I agree with a lot of those points. I think they're great. Absolutely. And hopefully we get some of those after this season when they work on a new deal with the players and the league and everything like that.
Absolutely. And looking at the comment section here on this post from TikTok, one viewer said, antitrust laws and not being able to defer money. So the Dodgers can't just sign every single top prospect. Obviously, there's a lot of Dodger haters in this. Um, let's see. JT had a comment, get rid of deferred pay. Yes, every team can do it, but not every team has the future financial super stability to mortgage the future beyond their star players. Teams basically have a yearly budget in mind, but stretching to a few years max,
But the
not
thing is, though,
2030s, 2040s.
like with that comment, there's so many rich people out there that would love to own a sports team.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can't keep up, if you can't step up, then just step aside and sell your team to somebody that will.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, well, our organization, our ownership group, they just can't do. And I get it. LA is a larger, as far as the market, it's LA. I get that. But as far as just your ability to do more when it comes to spending, every team can do that. And so, yeah, it's just like, if you're not going to play ball, so to speak, then move on, sell it, sell your organization, sell it to somebody that actually will. That'll at least actually look like they're trying, anyways. But yeah, I don't know. Next offseason will be interesting.
Right. Here's a long one from on TikTok from a viewer D. There you go. Salary cap and a salary floor and a limit to the antics of the Dodgers and other quote super teams end quote with deferred payment contracts. Increase or create a player/slash staff pool for a profit sharing system from team to team. If the team does well on metrics, everyone benefits. It's easily implemented as a percentage, just like there's a revenue sharing system already in place for the owners. Create one of the players and staff to pitch clocks save/help baseball. Computer umpire calling systems could increase the quality of the game too. Pitch comma increased the speed and interest in the games. So there's a lot of things that can be done. How do you feel about that?
Man, I just,
Exactly. That's how.
like,
uh, you said it for the both of us. I love it.
yeah.
It's, again, just like I said earlier, and just literally what you just said, if you can't keep up, sell the team. Stop
Yeah.
just trying to have a team on your portfolio to look cool to all your
Everybody's like that guy. It's like, the Dodgers. Just quit pointing at the Dodgers.
Exactly.
Which I know it's easier said than done, and that's what everybody's going to do, is just point at the Dodgers. The Dodgers are playing within the rules. They
I love
are.
this. This was a good comment from Big Red Ripper. Braves pay their players $20 for 15 years, yet the Dodgers are the issue. Exactly.
And on the other end too, like that was just a few seasons ago with the Braves when they paid Austin Riley and Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies. If I'm those players, I'm like, you know what? Hey, Mr. Agent, you're fired.
Right.
It's either that or the Braves have some secret on these guys that it's like, look, we're going to give you a very good deal. We're not going to give you this gigantic deal, but we're going to give you this very reasonable deal, and you're going to sign it. That's the only thing they know where, they know where they buried the bodies or something like that. That's the only thing I can think of with the Braves and all these deals. But I don't know why in the world they want to. If I'm those players like Acuna, probably Acuna out of all of them, because Austin Riley still hasn't really, like, he's had a couple of good seasons, but nothing like ridiculous. Same thing with Ozzie Albies. But like, if I'm a guy like Ronald Acuna, yeah, I'd be like, hey, look, Mr. Agent, thank you, but you're done. That's where the issue would be with him, anyways. Is say what you want about the Braves offering those small contracts compared to other all-star caliber, MVP caliber players. In that situation, I'm yelling at my agent, like, what are we doing?
Right. This one comes from SDH. He said, "Get rid of the unwritten rules entirely, and shorten the season to maybe 120 games, 100 games if you're feeling frisky."
No.
I don't like that. Who wants less
I
baseball?
mean, I like it. I get it because I will say, I get it. There's so much content out there. There's so many options now.
Mm-hmm.
And our attention spans, everybody's attention, you think of younger people, their attention spans are only, so long or so short.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I have do I want to sit here and watch this 2.5 hour long baseball game 162 times? Or is it, there's because there's just so many other things out there as far as entertainment and everything like that. So I get people saying shortening the season. Me personally, I don't want to, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to either, just because we're baseball freaks and we'll watch all of them or keep up with all of them and all that kind of stuff. But I do understand people's argument when they want to say, "Hey, let's shorten the season a little bit." I know, yeah, I get it. The NFL is a different type of season. It's a different type of sport, but that's part of the popularity with NFL is what you play
Play
18
football.
games, and
You have
every game means something. Whereas with baseball, you've got the dog days of August and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, football, you can't play, like even 25 games or 30 games. It's physically probably not safe or possible because, you're hitting each other so hard.
yeah,
Baseball, there's nowhere near as much physical contact like that. And it's more of a mental game for sure and
with
skill
with
based.
with owners and players though, here's the damned if you do, damned if you don't, devil's advocate, whatever you want to call it. If I'm a player, for example, and I'm not saying players are asking for this, but if players, let's just say a player or anybody was requesting a shorter season, then in retaliation, owners are probably going to be like, okay, well, less money then because you're not playing as much. And
Yeah.
maybe it's just a couple games and it's not a big deal, but some guy, whatever that guy said, 100 games a season. That heck, you're telling me you're going to get rid of 60 games. That's what, 30 home games for an owner that they're going to be missing out on. Heck, no, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah. You're basically eliminating the last 2 months?
You're eliminating 2 months. Yeah,
Then what are you going to do?
exactly.
Sit around and watch tennis at 3 a.m. in other countries and bet on it?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do. One more comment from this post from Dan. Got a gentleman in the comment section. I like this one. Richard said, "A committee of Hall of Famers should be the ones who's voting. Should be the ones voting who goes in and who doesn't, not biased writers."
So with that, so there is a committee already of Hall of Famers. I think there's about 10 of them. After a player loses their ineligibility on being selected into the Hall of Fame, like Barry Bonds, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say if they get so many votes, that's how guys like Fred McGriff and Jeff Kent were able to make the Hall of Fame. They actually ran out of opportunities to get on the ballot or to be on the ballot. It ran out. I want to say it's 10 years. If you go 10 years without, you got to make so much percentage every year you're on the ballot. And then after 10 years, it's just like you're done. And Barry Bonds, I believe it was a year, possibly 2 years ago, like he was done. But then there's this committee that can vote, and it's consisted of, I want to say 10 people. Some of them are former Hall of Famers. I believe there's a few writers. I don't remember exactly. I know somebody's probably yelling at me, telling me like, this is what it is. But there is that process as well. Bond still didn't get it. But I feel like it should be a combination of Hall of Famers. I feel like the fans should have a say. I feel like they should have a partial say because
Sure.
no offense to all the reporters out there, but you guys are just fans too. You guys are just human beings too. And a lot of this in the past, I'll take Barry Bonds, for example. You can say what you want about his, whether you agree or not with what he did. A lot of people say, well, his first 10 years of the career, he was already a Hall of Famer, so he should be in it and all that kind of stuff. A lot of it too is, Barry Bonds, he was a dick to a lot of reporters. He was. And so all it would have took was a handful of reporters that are actually BBWA voters and all that kind of stuff, for them to just have a bad interaction with each other. And those guys will, that may be something that he or she holds against Barry Bonds, for example, for forever. Oh, I'm not voting for this guy because he was a jerk to me the last time at his interview. So nope.
Or just some old heads that's stuck in their way.
And a lot of it, exactly. A lot of it too is old heads. Well, back in the day, Hank Aaron's the real champion, and he's the real home run king.
It's almost a completely different game.
It's these old heads saying, well, he just being mad at, well, this guy, put up better numbers than this guy, but Hank Aaron did it the right way, so I'm not voting for Barry Bonds and stuff like that. And you got some guys on the BBWA that couldn't even name you 10 current players right now, and somehow they still have an opportunity to vote. And so, which back to the Hall of Fame thing, I feel like if we're going to talk about more like umpires being held accountable, I feel like no matter what the voting process is, whether it's reporters or whatever, I think they need to be held accountable too.
100%. I'd love umpire press conferences post game.
I'd love it.
That'd be great. Could you imagine Angel Hernandez if he was still around giving a post?
Dude, Angel Hernandez or Jerry West? No, not Jerry West. Jerry.
I know.
Oh, they called him the Cowboy. He used to have a podcast.
I gotta look it up.
Not Jerry West. Jerry West is the basketball guy. Gosh, you know who I'm talking about? The big heavy set guy.
Jerry Crawford?
No. Oh man, we got to figure this out.
West?
Joe West. Yeah.
Joe West, yeah.
Joe West. I could just imagine a conversation with him after a post-game interview with him would be awesome. Or you remember that viral moment? It was in the Mets. It was the Mets and the Dodgers, I believe, in the playoffs back in 2015. A pitcher threw at a hitter after, I want to say a Mets pitcher threw at a Dodgers hitter. This was after Chase Utley slid into a Mets player and broke his ankle or something. And so that player, it may have been Noah Syndergaard, throws at the Dodgers player. They're going nuts. There is this epic moment between the Mets coach and the umpire. Cannot remember his name, but he's yelling at him, and he's like, "I know, but we're in the jackpot. We're in the jackpot right now." And it like he knows his what's on the line and everything like that. And it just, I would have loved to hear. Do what?
What was the manager? Was it for the Mets? Was his name Tommy?
It may have been. I can't remember his name. I can look at his face. I see his face in my mind right now.
White-haired guy, right?
Short white-haired guy, yeah. I could just imagine a post-game interview with that umpire after that playoff game would have been, because that was just an epic moment. If you know what I'm like, when we're done with this, just pull it up and it's awesome. It's a moment that you knew was a moment when it was happening. If that makes any sense, like you knew this was going to be something. Yeah, we're going to talk about this for years. This was awesome.
Tommy Age, I think that's how you say his last name. Agee. Yeah, that was.
But yeah, that was fun.
I love it. All right, we got a couple more things here we want to get to briefly before we jump off here. Just go over the power rankings really quick. It came out recently and some baseball history stuff. But the power rankings that we got out, top 10 right now, you got at the number 1 spot, the LA Dodgers, of course, Chicago Cubs. Then we got the New York Mets, Toronto Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Mariners, the Red Sox, the Orioles, who quietly had a really great offseason this year, and the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Atlanta Braves. Not surprised seeing the Dodgers that high. Very surprised seeing the Chicago Cubs at number 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be right back.
Spring training power rankings are just power rankings and all that kind of stuff. But and maybe this is just humble me talking. I don't know if the Cubs are number 2. Yeah, they made a lot of changes this year, a lot of additions and everything like that. I love the changes, but they also have a lot of ifs. Justin Steele has to come back and be good. Their starting rotation, Shota Imanaga, has to be better than what he was last year. Matthew Boyd, big question with him. is he gonna bounce back, or is he gonna have like a fall? Because last year was arguably the best season of his career. Does he fall a little bit? Does Jameson Tyon, is he a guy in that rotation? Does Cade Horton have a sophomore slump? You've got questions about the bullpen. Does PCA? I don't think PCA is going to have the power numbers that he had, but does PCA make a jumper? Does he have he slumped the second half of the season? Was that just a slump? Was he tired out? Was he gassed out from his first full season? So there's a lot of
balls high in the zone.
There's a lot of questions with the Cubs, so that kind of surprises me that they're number 2. As far as on that list, though,
Blue Jays number 2, and then maybe
I'm telling you, the Blue Jays are going to be legit, even though they're going to
maybe 5. I've been happy.
There's 4 teams. You've got 4 teams, however, in that division that could win that division between the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Orioles, and the Blue Jays. And it's funny that I want to say, all 4 of them are in the top 10. Another team on this list that by the All-Star break, I think is going to be way higher is the Atlanta Braves.
Oh yeah.
I think last year they had, the perfect storm, the perfect combination of just a lot of injuries, and just a couple, and the guys they had left over just not having their best year.
Start 2 players with Spencer Strider and Acuna.
Both of those guys out. You had Austin Riley out.
Yeah.
Chris Sale wasn't, I want to say he got hurt after the first half of the season. You had a lot of stuff go down. If those guys come back healthy, which by the way, the Braves arguably have one. So I love, spring training. I love watching all the YouTube channels and the videos of like from the teams that show all their spring training content and all that kind of stuff. The Braves arguably have one of the best spring training vlogs. It's like this episodic show that kind of want to say it's on Thursdays, Behind the Braves. That is a really fun watch. If you're just you like watching that kind of stuff, watch out for them to be one of the top teams. I'd say by the beginning of summer, if they're healthy, they're going to be a juggernaut once again. They will. Ozzie Albies has to step up. And they've got to figure it out at shortstop. I know they just lost, who was it? Ha-Seong Kim. But they've got to figure it out at shortstop. But I think they're going to be really good.
I'm with you. And stay tuned, everybody. Tyler and I are going to try to put our power rankings together, do a dugout dispatch power ranking. So maybe we'll have that out the next couple of days. Maybe do some other stuff along with that as well. One more thing before we get to some final thoughts. I always like to include a little bit of baseball history. This one popped up the other day. I thought it was pretty cool. This is the wildest stat in the history of Major League Baseball from Ray Caldwell. He was a Cleveland Indians pitcher from 1919 to 1921. He was struck by lightning in the 9th inning of an Indians debut on August 24th, 1919. Finished the game after being revived back to life. Pitched a no-hitter at New York 17 days later. Won 20 games for 1920 world champion Indians. I mean, struck by lightning is one thing, and you hope he's okay and comes back to life. Maybe you go to the hospital and get checked out. No, he got struck by lightning, brought this man back to life
on his debut with the team. I just noticed that on his debut.
How insane is
that? They don't make them like they used to, Steve. I mean, you've got players now leaving with little blisters and, oh, my back hurts. Oh, my hip hurts. Yeah. This dude got struck by lightning. He wasn't even responsive. And they're just like, no. Get him back up. Do what you got to do. I wonder
he probably went to the dugout for like 10 minutes to rip a dart, opened up a cold one, and he's like, all right.
Because I'd just like to even see when it says they revived him. Like, I just wonder what that consisted of, because I don't even know if they knew CPR then. There's no way they did. So, man, That would be cool to witness.
And he like woke up and got out of it.
Somebody probably walked out with like some type of strong just moonshine or something and just poured it in him, and he just
what's those things that the EMS has where they rub it together?
Oh, like the CPAP machines and stuff. They
let's shock him again.
Yeah. He's
been electrocuted once. He can handle it. Shock him again.
That's something that I would like to witness. I wonder if, I would like to witness that over like everyone. Oh, did Babe Ruth really call his shot and blah blah blah? I'd like to witness that. Yeah, that dude getting struck by lightning. I just want to be a fly on the wall. Definitely don't want to be sitting in the stadium during that. But
absolutely, absolutely not. So insane. All right, Tyler. Before we jump off here, got any final thoughts?
Yes, I've been working on this time of year. You try to find stuff to keep you occupied while you're waiting for baseball. I've been working on basically my not top 10 MVPs, and basically what it is I'm looking at MVP voting results and like who had amazing seasons, in specific years. And did not make the top 10 of MVP voting. And I'll just tell you this, just a snippet of one of the guys I've looked at. Richard Hidalgo, if you've ever heard of him. He was mainly played for the Houston Astros. I don't even think he played 10 seasons. But in 2000, get this, played in 153 games, batted .314 with 44 homers, 122 RBIs, 42 doubles, a 1.0 OPS, and a 6.3 WAR.
Dang.
What do you think he finished in the MVP voting?
Middle of the pack or dead last?
He finished tied for 20th.
Wow.
In the NL MVP voting that year.
We got to do better than that.
And I'll give you one more. Just crazy. Larry Walker in 2001, 142 games, batted .350 with 174 hits, 38 homers, 123 RBIs, 107 runs, 35 doubles, 14 stolen bases, a 1.1 OPS, and a 7.8 WAR. Where do you think he finished in the top, just in the MVP voting, if you had to guess? Batted .350.
Probably like 13th.
24th.
God, that's ridiculous.
Which I'm sure a lot of it had to, he played at Coors Field. But I don't know. It's crazy.
He was the NL leader in batting average that year, too, in 2001, sitting at .350.
I had to be. You know what? I could check for you real quick. But I want to say there's a couple seasons. Let's see here, 2001. Yeah, he led the NL in batting that year. He led the NL for 3 seasons, 2 years, 98, 99 as well. But there's several Colorado Rockies going back, looking at stuff like that. There's several Colorado Rockies that finished very far down the list of MVP voting. And I'm sure a lot of it was because of the Coors Field effect. But, man, I don't know. It's just crazy.
That is insane. We got to get it figured out. Final thoughts from me, I guess, is we don't need no stinking cap. And I guess no floor if that means there would have to be a cap. I think if you're a fan, here's the answer in my opinion. If you're a fan of a team that's kind of in the middle of the pack or towards the bottom end of the league, I would start raising Cain, sending smoke signals, faxes, something. I would figure out where my team owner likes to get his coffee and just run into him and let them know how disgruntled I am, or just maybe get a petition going for new ownership. So I'm all about players making as much money as they can. But, that is going to do it for us on this episode of the Dugout Dispatch. Stay tuned. We'll got some more stuff coming your way, do our own version of power rankings. Eventually, I'd like to get into some grading and maybe power rankings as well to some divisions, see where everybody's sitting at before we get into the season, how well some of these
WBC will be here before you know it.
WBC will be here before you know it, and we forgot to bring it up earlier, but I'll do it real quick. Dominican Republic starting lineup is looking stacked.
Hey,
Fernando
it's stacked,
Tatis,
but it ain't no Team USA, baby. It ain't no USA, baby.
But they got Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, Vladdy Jr., Jose.
We're taking it all this year. USA, the DR can bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. USA is here to stay.
We got Bobby Witt. We got PCA. We got Matthew Boyd and Paul Skeens and everybody. With Tarek Scoop, we got everybody. So stay tuned because the WBC is coming up. 2 weeks, we're away from pitchers and catchers. Who needs Valentine's when you got pitchers and catchers reporting, baby? That's the gift that just keeps on giving. We can't wait, but make sure you tune in, follow us on social media, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're out of here. We'll see you on the next one.